Long ago, this world was beautiful and serene. Everything changed on the day dungeons and hidden realms began to appear in great numbers, along with monsters. Civilization stood on the brink of collapse, yet humanity awakened extraordinary powers. With these newfound abilities, people gained enough strength to confront the creatures with relative ease. With the rise of class changers, a handful of human cities managed to endure. In the Central Park, before the Forest Sanctuary, a professor lectured his students about the dangers posed by monsters. He explained that survival was never guaranteed, since not every class changer possessed the ability to fight them head-on. From behind the crowd, someone stepped forward to listen more closely. It was a white-haired boy named Hiro, his gaze fixed straight ahead, sharp and unyielding. His eyes narrowed as a childhood memory resurfaced. Back then, people said his endurance was nothing but a waste compared to his sister's talent. Those men had taken her away, claiming they were the true protectors of the world, not him. Suddenly, murmurs spread as someone recognized him as the so-called genius Hiro. Hiro offered a polite smile and greeted everyone, remarking that he didn't seem to be late after all. A brusque voice cut through the crowd. A fiery red-haired mage named Ula pushed forward, demanding to know why he had arrived so late. She sneered, suggesting that perhaps he had awakened the dreadful class and was too embarrassed to show his face. Hiro replied calmly that there was no such thing as a bad class, only bad people. That answer only fueled Ula's mockery. She scoffed, saying he didn't even have friends to form a team with. Unbothered, Hiro said it was fine. He had no intention of teaming up anyway. To him, it wasn't a big deal. After all, forming a team meant splitting experience. Ula stared at him, convinced he was unbearably stubborn, and decided she wouldn't lift a finger if things went wrong. Still, she added that if he humbled himself a little, she might consider letting him join her group. Around them, other students whispered among themselves, doubting whether he was truly as strong as rumored. The professor then checked if everyone was ready. The secret realm had been activated. They had a 3-day limit and needed to reach at least level 3 to qualify as monster hunters. Moreover, the assessment area was restricted to the outer 3 layers. Crossing beyond that boundary was extremely dangerous. The moment the assessment began, Hiro wasted no time and sprinted straight toward the testing area. Ula clenched her teeth, wondering why that man was so competitive. As they climbed the stairs, Hiro quickly reached the platform, leaving the others stunned by his speed. While they admired his physical prowess, the teleportation platform activated, locking onto the Forest Sanctuary as its destination. With a resolute expression, Hiro waited for the countdown. A swirling vortex of blue light formed, then pulled him in. In the blink of an eye, he found himself within the sanctuary's perimeter. 2 professors stood nearby, eager to see how far the students would progress. Their attention lingered on Ula, convinced her fire mage class gave her an edge. They also noted Hiro, who had experienced the celestial phenomenon and awakened as a necromancer, yet judged him average. After all, the undead he could summon were said to be no stronger than level 2 monsters. Just then, Hiro sensed movement in the bushes behind him. A monstrous rabbit burst out with a roar, lunging at him. Recognizing the threat instantly, Hiro drew his blade, thinking it would be the perfect warm-up. With a single strike, he brought the creature down. It collapsed at his feet, whimpering before losing consciousness. A notification appeared, announcing that he gained 5% experience for defeating the rabbit. Hiro exhaled softly, relieved that he could handle a level 1 wild monster on his own. In this world, anyone could enter the class change tower upon turning 18. From there, they could live as ordinary citizens, or take the assessment to become hunters. Hiro chose the latter, not out of noble ideals or dreams of wealth, but because his family had been torn from him one by one. While he stood powerless, he tasted his own weakness and learned that the law could not protect those he loved. His motivation was simple: become strong enough to protect what is his. As he continued exploring, he encountered a level 2 gray squirrel. Hiro frowned. Such a monster shouldn't have appeared so early. Fighting a level 2 creature wasn't easy, leaving him no choice but to summon his broken level 1 undead familiar. The undead charged without hesitation and attacked the squirrel. Suddenly, the ground cracked open and several more gray squirrels emerged from their burrows. Hiro froze in shock. 3 additional monsters had joined the fray. He wondered why so many level 2 creatures were present in this area, knowing that on the first day, most teams wouldn't stand a chance against such odds. Yet his power wasn't limited to a single summon. Standing atop the class change tower in his memory, he recalled the other students mocking the class he had awakened. They laughed, laughed, saying his undead were barely stronger than ordinary people. He also remembered Ula's fury at their words, flames nearly bursting from her hands. To Hiro, they were nothing but fools. Just like the group that had taken his sister long ago, they were too short-sighted to grasp the truth. Gritting his teeth, he declared with pride that he was no ordinary necromancer. He proclaimed himself the sovereign of the undead and called forth his armies from the shadows. With them at his side, those pitiful gray squirrels posed no challenge. Notifications of experience gains rang out one after another as the undead pressed the monsters back, cornering them. But as the saying goes, a cornered rat will bite. To Hiro's surprise, the monsters fought back, pushing against his summons. Confusion washed over him. They shouldn't have been stronger than his undead. The creatures bared their teeth, muscles bulging. Then suddenly, a pair of bat-like wings sprouted from their backs. Watching the transformation, Hiro reached a single conclusion. The monsters had leveled up. Without hesitation, Hiro ordered his undead to fall back for a brief moment, and they obeyed instantly. The next second, he unleashed them once more, this time in a full-scale assault against the monster. The three advanced together, charging straight at the Rat King of Greywood as the creature braced itself to counterattack. However, now that it could fly, Hiro's undead struggled to keep up in the air. Realizing that 3 were not enough, Hiro calmly decided to double his forces. 3 more undead were summoned, completely surrounding the Rat King of Greywood. Under the pressure of their combined attacks, the monster was finally slammed back down to the ground. Hiro narrowed his eyes, carefully observing the battle unfold. There it was, the creature desperately fleeing from his undead horde. He even acknowledged the monster's cleverness for choosing to charge directly at him. Unfortunately for the Rat King, facing Hiro was no escape either. Shadowy, grasping hands burst forth and swallowed the rat whole as Hiro activated his spiritual erosion. In the next instant, the monster found itself trapped in a sealed space filled with arrogant spirits gazing down at it. A commanding voice echoed, ordering submission, and its consciousness began to crumble. A seal ignited on the monster's forehead as its body continued to decay. When its head finally exploded, Hiro frowned. He couldn't believe the monster had triggered self-destruction. Was that seal placed by someone else? Standing over the lifeless corpse, he wondered what had truly just happened. Still, there was no time to dwell on it. Reaching level 6 was now his priority. As he moved forward, he silently vowed to reunite with his sister soon. Elsewhere in the forest, another group of students was locked in combat with a different threat. A feral boar charged straight at them, overwhelming the group with brute force. To save them, Eula ignited her flaming fists and struck the creature head-on. Within moments, a deafening, agonized roar echoed through the woods as the monster was engulfed in flames. With great effort, the team managed to defeat a level 3 armored boar. Proudly, Eula declared her intention to hunt a level 5 monster before the evaluation ended. OG and Yana, however, admitted they might not be able to keep up with such an ambitious plan. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble, instantly putting all 3 on edge. It wasn't an earthquake. Something massive was approaching. From between the trees emerged a colossal creature made entirely of stone. When it fully revealed itself, there was no doubt. A level 6 stone ape. OG quickly suggested they scatter. It would be fatal if the monster focused on just one of them, but fear overtook Yana. Her legs gave out and she collapsed to the ground, trembling uncontrollably. She screamed as the stone ape locked onto her and began to advance, its gaze fixed on her as its chosen target, while OG and Yana panicked. Without a second thought, OG rushed forward, determined to withstand the monster's attack. Gritting his teeth, he braced himself for the impact. Thoughts of his grandparents flashed through his mind, along with the promise he had made to return safely. The stone ape clenched its fists and swung. Even so, OG refused to retreat. He would protect his companion at all costs. When the punch landed, dust and smoke erupted from the ground as Eula cried out in despair. But to the stone ape's shock, an undead creature was already there, blocking its fist with nothing but a scythe. OG and Yana stared in disbelief, unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Hiro stepped out from behind them, his sudden appearance leaving Eula stunned. She wondered how long he had been there. Hiro didn't answer. Instead, he spoke calmly about protecting what one truly wished to protect. As his undead effortlessly pierced through the stone ape's body, he stated flatly that this was the work of a professional. Eula was left speechless. A level 6 monster, defeated in a single strike. The creature acknowledged its defeat and retreated into the forest with no intention of returning. Eula turned to ask Hiro about the Reaper, but to her surprise, he had already vanished. Remembering that this wasn't the level of power he had shown before, she began to wonder just how strong Hiro truly was. Eula rushed to check on her companions, and Oji assured her that everyone was fine. Still, Yana couldn't help but feeling slightly annoyed after realizing OG had cracked a joke. Eula then asked if they had seen where Hiro went. OG replied that he had watched him head in the same direction the stone ape fled. Both OG and Yana wondered if Hiro intended to finish the monster after the Reaper had wounded it. That's when Eula asked if they remembered Hiro's class from the class change ceremony. The two exchanged glances, recalling that he was a necromancer, only now realizing what that truly meant. Eula hated to admit it, but she had no choice. There's a strong chance that Hiro was far more powerful than any of them had ever imagined. Meanwhile, the fleeing stone ape retreated toward the mountains, unaware that Hiro had already tracked it down. He demanded to know who was controlling it. The stone ape responded with nothing but a furious roar. Seeing no hope of extracting answers, he decided to use it as a test subject. He activated memory reading, an advanced form of spiritual erosion. The stone ape narrowed his eyes as the skill took effect. A vision appeared, a raging silhouette, revealing the true mastermind behind everything. When Hiro noticed the mark on its chest, he recognized it instantly. It was the same mark he had seen on the Rat King of Greywood. The entity, the Dungeon Master, was possessing the stone ape. It questioned whether Hiro was the human responsible for killing several of its generals. Hiro remained expressionless. Instead, he calmly asked if it was the one pulling the strings behind it all. The dungeon boss didn't respond. It merely declared itself a king-level monster, someone Hiro could never hope to defeat. But to Hiro, it was nothing more than a pile of XP waiting to be claimed. The dungeon boss laughed at his arrogance and threatened to devour humanity once fully revived. Hiro's fists clenched in fury. At his command, the Reaper instantly severed the stone monkey's head with ruthless ease. Hiro despised anyone who threatened those around him. Yet, the dungeon boss was only possessing the stone monkey, so its original body remained unharmed. Still, defeating the monkey granted him enough XP to reach level 6.
With that, he finally qualified to awaken his sovereign ascension. Upon activation, he was engulfed in a storm of dark, menacing energy. Visions of Ula, Yana, and OG appeared before him. Suddenly, all three looked astonished at something unfolding in front of them. A colossal serpentine creature and the shadowy silhouette of a mysterious man. Hiro's heart raced as he realized it was the true Emperor. Purple sparks danced in the air, and a dragon-like creature emerged from the clouds. Among the crowd observing from below, a mysterious woman smiled, adjusting her cap as she recognized the second awakening. She turned to leave, remarking regretfully that it was a shame to abandon the city. Back at the forest sanctuary, the professors were a mix of excitement and anxiety over the second awakening. Something seemed to block the activation of the spatial stone. They had tried everything, yet the portal remained unresponsive. Fear gripped them that the secret realm might be permanently sealed. Meanwhile, the grand sacrificial ceremony had concluded, leaving humanity with no escape. The dungeon boss commanded its servants to sow chaos, knowing no one could intervene. Elsewhere, a group of students wandered through the forest. One noticed movement behind them. When they turned, a colossal level 6 ogre loomed over them, roaring in terror. From the bushes, a serpentine monster coiled around the students. Another group encountered a wolf pack cornered against a tree, while others were trapped in spider webs. The professors, still trying to unlock the secret realm, panicked at the thought that the students might never emerge. Feeling powerless, one professor approached the teleport platform, resigning to hope that the students could defeat the true mastermind behind it all. Meanwhile, Hiro completed his sovereign ascension, evolving into the undead sovereign. He gained the divine-level active skill Sovereign Power, and heard a voice announcing the passive divine-level skill Indomitable Will. The voice explained the functions of his abilities, leaving Hiro wondering who was speaking. It was then revealed. The voice belonged to the divine-level occupational system spirit, a fallen angel. To Hiro's shock, this angel could perform multiple functions, including scanning for life. Hiro commanded the spirit to start the scan. 4 life signs appeared. Hiro suspected it might be Ula's group. Asking for more details, the information came through his vengeful spirit. His hand glowed with dark energy, summoning 3 vengeful spirits. Obeying immediately, they scoured the forest. Hiro tested his new abilities, sharing his vision with one of the spirits. His eyes gleamed with delight as he realized he could share bodies with them. Suddenly, one spirit detected something unusual, causing him to pause. He saw scorched earth and assumed it was Ula's group. Yet when the fallen angel scanned again, there were 0 life signs. Confusion washed over him. Everything had vanished in under half a minute. No footprints, no trace of escape. Hiro sprang to his feet, refusing to believe they had simply disappeared. He recalled Ula's rare profession and knew low-level monsters posed no threat. Grinding his teeth, he sensed a grave incident had occurred and remembered the dungeon boss's threat, blaming himself. Stopping in his tracks, he realized the dungeon boss had total control over the secret realm. Dark tentacles writhed around his hand as he summoned all his vengeful spirits from the ground. Kneeling, they surrounded the area. With fiery determination, Hiro commanded them to cleanse the entire secret realm. Yana slowly opened her eyes at the sound of her name. OG looked worried, urging her to wake. In the dark cave, hunters whispered anxiously among themselves. The dungeon boss appeared, commanding attention. Suddenly, a surge of red energy made 2 students recoil. Everyone noticed a massive statue rising before them, assuming it spoke. Shock registered across their faces. It was a sacrificial altar. The dungeon boss grinned, flanked by its weaker minions. The hunters argued, convinced it was the dungeon boss. It spoke of its hatred, claiming humans had trampled them all. Fear filled every face. Pointing to the altar, the boss demanded their oath of loyalty. The hunters recognized the creature. It was the very monster chronicled in the history book. The dungeon master, brimming with pride, revealed that he had recreated the altar, adding that whoever stepped on it would gain unimaginable power. The others glanced at Ula, urging her forward, but she refused. With a smug, wide grin, the dungeon master explained that every monster there was born of his magic, and only humans could fully harness this power. After all, the Disaster Lord had once been human. The hunters were left in stunned silence. Raising his hand, the dungeon master unveiled humanity's true potential. Then he asked if they would choose survival or death. Goku, the young man with striking yellow hair, fell into thought. Without a word, he began ascending the stairs, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Someone tried to stop him, but he merely said he wanted to grow stronger. Suddenly, an explosion shook the floor above and everyone braced themselves. Goku's head snapped toward the noise. Yana cursed him, her hand ignited in flames, sensing an obvious trap. Goku, however, smirked with disdain. He believed that rare profession individuals like Yana could grow far stronger, far faster. Ignoring the danger, he pressed on. This was his chance. OG warned Yana to let it go. Goku wouldn't listen anyway. With a leap, Goku landed before the statue. Spreading his arms, he declared his wish to become a true protagonist. The dungeon master chuckled, entertained. Then, crimson smoke erupted from the statue's mouth, engulfing Goku. His eyes widened as energy surged through him. Laughter escaped him as his body twisted and transformed within the swirling smoke. Goku's form grew bulky, his skin turning red, a fallen demon of level 7. The hunters saw the undeniable proof. He had become stronger, but his appearance had been drastically altered. The dungeon master commanded him to prove his loyalty. How? Goku asked, his voice steady. The dungeon master's expression contorted with malice. He was to slay every human in the room. Goku drew his sword from his back, no longer resembling a human in body or soul. Shock and anger erupted among his former comrades. They accused him of betraying humanity, while the dungeon master and his monsters watched with delight at their fear. Xena, the popular classmate, threatened to tell her father if Goku sided with the monsters, but he gave her nothing but a cold, silent glare.
Goku leapt from the altar, landing in front of them with terrifying presence. "You've all misunderstood," he said. Without warning, he struck Xena across the face. Gasps filled the room. Had he killed her? Arrogant people were among the things Goku despised most, and panic quickly spread. One by one, his peers attempted to flee, leaping from the platform in desperation. Goku moved like a crimson lightning storm, raining destruction. Projectiles streaked toward fleeing students, striking striking them with precision. One girl tripped just as an attack came near, but a ring of flames shielded her. Goku clenched his teeth, confusion flickering across his demonic face. Then he saw Eula preparing to confront him. Enraged, he unleashed a devastating crimson power, confident his demonic form could crush her. Eula activated her phoenix feather armor, barely managing to withstand the blow. She was thrown back, caught by OG and Yana. With a cold, triumphant smile, Goku declared they weren't strong enough to stop him. Eula and her group struggled to strategize. Time was their only hope until rescue arrived. OG doubted anyone would come, but Eula held on to hope. Hiro was still searching for them. Through Hiro's summoning, a barrier was breached. He finally realized via sensory sharing that everything had been hidden. No wonder he hadn't found the nest despite his tireless search. The dungeon master was startled to see his monster returning unbidden. Then he learned a human outside had slain every demon. Rage coursed through him, but he knew the critical moment had not yet arrived. Watching Goku, however, he sensed the human's inevitable demise. Corrupted by demonic power, Goku's sanity was slipping. Exhausted and desperate, Eula collapsed, regretting her inability to reach Hiro. Suddenly, a powerful explosion erupted from above. Hiro's blade struck Goku from behind, diverting his attention. "Sorry I'm late," Hiro called as his sword pierced Goku's chest. Goku groaned, staring at the blade lodged in him. Hiro landed with impact, shielding Eula's group as Goku fell. Shocked, they called his name as he positioned himself between them and danger. Hiro's gaze swept the room, filled with falling comrades. Guilt struck him hard. He had arrived too late. Facing the dungeon master, Hiro commanded Yana to treat Eula. The dungeon master threatened Hiro for killing the Disaster Lord's successor, but Hiro remained unfazed. Enraged, the dungeon master ordered his minions to attack immediately. The demons roared with excitement at the mission to annihilate the remaining humans. Even knowing Hiro's strength, OG couldn't help but worry and rushed forward to support him. Hiro, however, reassured him that he wasn't fighting alone. OG misunderstood at first, thinking Hiro wanted him at his side, but Hiro gently held his shoulder and clarified. What he meant was that he could summon his own army of powerful undead. Hiro's summons faced off against the chief's minions in a tense standoff. Within moments, total war erupted, plunging the entire area into chaos. OG commented that those high-level monsters were no match for Hiro's summons, but Hiro knew the chief still had schemes in motion. He suspected that perhaps the chief had never truly needed a successor from the start. Then the realization hit. The plan was to use the mark to indirectly control the power of the Disaster Lord. At that moment, Goku revived as the Disaster Lord itself and struck Hiro in the stomach. Yana screamed his name, panicked as the dungeon chief laughed, praising him for being an intelligent human. Hiro choked as the monster confirmed his suspicion. His summons began to disintegrate, leaving him battered while the dungeon chief grew stronger, exploiting the contract he had forged with the Disaster Lord. The chief launched an attack, knocking Hiro to the ground. His companions called out in concern, fearing he had lost consciousness. The dungeon chief then commanded his minions to offer him their powers. Without hesitation, the monsters obeyed, channeling all their energy into him. What he didn't realize was that a single undead had managed to sneak behind him. It was Hiro himself, using the undead as his avatar. The dungeon chief was completely shocked to see Hiro alive. Wasting no time, Hiro struck with another attack, cleaving him in half. The chief died mid-thought, questioning how a mere human could wield such power. Hiro's consciousness returned to his own body, and he rose to his feet. Eula's group watched anxiously as Hiro declared he would grow even stronger. Suddenly, a purple crystal floated before him. Hiro inspected it and asked if it was an item dropped by the chief. The angel fellow replied, "This is not an item left by the chief." OG tensed, sensing something unusual. He warned Hiro to be careful. The Disaster Lord was still at his side. Only then did Hiro remember this overlooked enemy. The Disaster Lord wasted no time, throwing a punch. Hiro dodged just in time, though the blow was strong enough to knock him back. Reassuring OG and Yana that he was fine, Hiro urged them to escape first. The Disaster Lord continued to wreak havoc, only held back by Hiro's raiders. Hiro warned that he couldn't hold out for long and that they had to move quickly. Though worried, the others had no choice but to trust him. Outside the forest sanctuary, the students' parents fretted over the prolonged test. They pressed the examiners for answers. Suddenly, the teleportation platform blazed with intense blue light, and everyone gasped as someone appeared. OG, Eula, and Yana materialized, and paramedics were immediately called for the injured entered Eula. Her father rushed to her side, panicked. Teachers inquired about the arrival of medical assistants. Then they turned to OG, asking what had happened inside and where the other students were. With tears in his eyes, he sorrowfully reported that all the other students had died, leaving everyone in shock. Anxiety spread among the parents, creating a tense silence. There was no choice but to explain what had happened. Meanwhile, other hunters waited outside, secretly hoping Hiro had perished in the dungeon. Shock rippled through them as someone finally emerged. It was Hiro, collapsing to the ground. Panic ensued. Everyone feared he was dead. OG cried out desperately, begging him not to die. Then, Hiro opened his eyes and declared he was still alive. OG was stunned, questioning whether he had truly defeated the monster. Hiro admitted he hadn't. It had been far too strong, and all he had managed was to bury it in the cavern. One professor recognized him as the one who had experienced a second awakening within the dungeon. Suddenly, a purple energy pierced Hiro's chest. Alarmed, he realized he had been ambushed and felt unable to summon his undead. He asked the fallen angel what was happening. The fallen angel explained that he was under the effect of forbidden magic. Shocked, Hiro wondered who could have done this to him. The professor inquired further, but Hiro dismissed it. Soon after, he noticed a strange sensation had vanished. The professor apologized for not immediately seeking medical aid, explaining they still needed to gather information to report to the students' families. Night fell quickly. Hiro walked home, thinking the ordeal was finally over. He recalled the professor's astonished expressions when he recounted the monsters he had faced. They suspected an external force had been at play in the dungeon. Hiro smiled, knowing most of what he said was true, though his intuition warned him that the crystal radiated a necromantic aura that must remain hidden. Suddenly, a voice called from behind. Hiro swiftly summoned his army of Reapers. Onlookers marveled at his ability to summon such high-level familiars, yet the man approaching was a level 13 professional assassin, confident in his speed. He declared Hiro merely a vulnerable target and charged into battle. The Reapers pierced through the assassin's clones, yet the real one managed to slip in from behind. Tired of being disturbed, Hiro decided it was finally time to take the fight seriously. His dark, dominating aura enveloped the assassin, plunging him into sheer terror. In that instant, someone intervened, calling the assassin trash. Hiro froze, both surprised and alarmed. He readied himself for an attack, realizing it was the same man who had ambushed him earlier. Clenching his teeth, Hiro prepared for battle. The man, furious, tossed the assassin aside, frustrated that he couldn't even defeat a mere child. The assassin muttered that Hiro was strange after witnessing his powers. Hiro asked who they were, but Shan simply gave the assassin a minute to finish him. Confident, the assassin claimed he only needed 30 seconds, with Shan's help. He launched an all-out assault on Hiro from every angle, while the stairs could barely block the attacks. Hiro felt his body stiffen, unprepared for an enemy capable of suppressing magic. With no other choice, he activated his spiritual descent ability, seeing the battlefield from the perspective of his summoned Reaper. A blue layer appeared over his body, prompting him to ask the fallen angel what it was. He learned it was a skill that prevented him from using magic, triggered by Shan's eyes. Suddenly, the Reaper emerged out of nowhere, shocking both Shan and his henchmen. Hiro realized he didn't even need to be in Shan's line of sight. Panic overtook the assassin when he saw Hiro unharmed. Hiro then commanded the Reaper to attack, saying, "Now it's his turn." He hurled his spear directly at Shan's head, but Shan simply smiled, blocking the strike with a barrier. Hiro was astonished. It was soon revealed that Shan's armor had been crafted by a level 30 artisan. Shan hadn't planned to attack at first, but something shifted in that moment. Hiro assessed the situation carefully when his phone suddenly buzzed. It was a message from his brother saying he wanted to see him within the hour. There was no choice but to leave immediately. Hiro was left bewildered by the sudden turn of events. They bid farewell, though still threatening that this wasn't over. At the city's administrative branch, the professors debated the recent dungeon incident. They worried that something dangerous might still be lurking inside. However, the man on the other end of the line reprimanded them, saying they were meddling too much in dungeon affairs. He then asked how it was possible that only 5 people had survived. The professor reported that someone had reached level 10 during a beginner's exam.
Back at Hiro's home, he examined the necromancy gem he had acquired. He speculated that the crystal was responsible for sealing the dungeon from within. Its aura was eerily similar to that of the dead. To test it, he struck the gem with his sword. It didn't budge an inch, instead releasing a powerful shockwave. Hiro could only groan, his hands trembling in pain. Seeing the gem unyielding, he returned to his body and ordered the Reapers to strike it simultaneously. Using his monarch's authority, he gave the ghost signal. A deafening crash echoed, prompting a neighbor to yell in irritation at the midnight noise. Hiro wondered what kind of material could make the gems so indestructible, questioning whether the problem was him, too weak with too low attributes. At that moment, his phone buzzed again. Answering, he heard the professor report that some people had arrived in the Warcraft area. They were apparently after the Golden Scroll hunt. Curious, Hiro asked for details and whether everyone would participate. He learned it was a ranking competition among several guilds, followed by a contest for items left by high-level monsters. The professor asked why he was interested, while Hiro silently wondered if that person would participate as well. Hiro's answer was clear. He wanted to go.